welcome back to another Couch Potato General Manager video. Joining me, we have CPGM Drew. I am CPGM Juice. Drew, we're back at it. We're back at it in our head-to-head mock drafts, 2022 NFL mock draft. First time around, Drew, in our first head-to-head mock draft, you were selecting for the AFC teams. I selected for the NFC teams. Guys, we encourage you to check out that video. The link is down in the description. Obviously, you can visit it at the channel page. This time around, we're going to flip the script. We're going to do a 180. I will be selecting for the AFC teams, and Drew will be selecting for the NFC team. So to get it started, Jacksonville Jaguars, obviously, they have the first overall pick. And at this juncture, I don't think there's really any guesswork outside of a potential trade down situation, which probably won't happen because of, I guess, the way that the quarterbacks are currently being valued. We'll see if that ultimately changes as the draft process continues, or rather the pre-draft process continues. But as of right now, for me, it's relatively simple at this juncture. I'm going with Evan Neal. I need to protect the blind side. The rumors are that Byron Leftwich will be the new head coach in Jacksonville. I certainly like that for Trevor Lawrence's development's sake. Of course, you got to keep him upright, and I think Evan Neal, considering his pedigree, considering how polished he is from a pass protection standpoint, I think there's some growth as far as being a run blocker is concerned. But generally speaking, I think he and Charles Cross are kind of in their own tier from a technique standpoint with respect to their pass blocking. Ike Mekwonu probably has the highest ceiling among the tackles, but I feel really confident about the selection of Evan Neal here.
Yeah, I can't object, man. You know, we gonna rinse and repeat.
Of course.
These first couple of thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, for me, it's another guy I would go with, as we know. But
yes,
I'm fine with that. I'm comfortable with that. We got to protect the franchise. It starts there, and then we'll work our way out for sure. All right, man. Next up, we have the Detroit Lions. Again, I'm the NFC, and for the Lions, we're gonna go with the hometown.
Oh wow!
In Aiden Hutchinson. We got to look at him. Yeah, we got to look at him. You know what I'm saying? That the scouts don't have to go too far. GM's been out to Michigan a couple of different times. We like what we see from Hutchinson. He's a lunch pail, bring your hard hat lunch pail type of guy. Has some explosive off the line, some tools in the tool box that he can bring every play. And he's a man amongst boys, man.
It is hard to argue with his film this year. For those of you who are concerned about, his performance during the Orange Bowl, I wouldn't be overly concerned about it. I thought Georgia did a great job neutralizing him, doing some different things to mitigate him. It wasn't as if he was just simply being handled by one guy from start to finish.
Right.
Of course, if you're that guy, you're going to get some of that at the NFL level. So he'll have to figure out, how to still make an impact on the game. But I'm certainly not going to knock his grade for that reason. Although I assumed that you would go Kayvon Thibodeau here, because I'm in the camp of Thibodeau having a higher ceiling than Hutchinson. What are your thoughts with respect to that?
No, you're probably right. He definitely has the higher ceiling. He has the higher ceiling. But I'm going to go with what I know. You know what I'm saying? And Thibodeau had some health issues. Hutchinson hasn't. And I'm just going to play it safe here.
All right, understandable. You're being risk averse, and honestly, that is somewhat my thought process with going Evan Neal over perhaps Ike Mekwonu, right? As I mentioned, Mekwonu, what he brings to the table in terms of the run game is, I mean, he's in a tier of his own, but he has some more question marks in terms of the technical aspect from a pass blocking standpoint. And this Evan Neal pick is as much about Trevor Lawrence as it is, the offensive line, because of course the quarterback cannot be successful without a quality offensive line. And with a team like Jacksonville, I think they need leadership. I think they need some of their young guys to really step up. And Evan Neal is an alpha. He led that Alabama team. He was kind of their heartbeat as far as the offensive line. He held court with the entire team during the championship game. Everybody was focused on Evan Neal. So I just think there's some intangibles as well as his polish as a pass protector that I really like. Right. And then, of course, the question marks that you have with respect to his run blocking. He does a little bit of lunging. I think once he gets that worked out, it won't be an issue. He's working with Duke Manyweather as well. So I'm not concerned about Evan Neal. I think Evan Neal's a great pick. And And to your point, it's something that along those same lines with Aiden Hutchinson. You know what you're getting. You understand the tone setting. Yes, there may be a guy that has more raw talent than him, but that's only part of the equation. It's only part of the equation, right? So with that being said, I'm gonna go with the aforementioned Ikem Ekwonu. I know Sarah McCoy is very excited about this pick. And I really like Ikem here. It'll be interesting how we figure out how to deploy him. Maybe we play him a year at left guard. He's played left tackle. That's the position he's played. I know some evaluators believe he'd be best suited for the guard position, but I think he's best suited at the end of the day at left tackle. You could exacerbate some of his struggles by moving him into the guard. I think that may be a misnomer for some. Some may think that's counterintuitive, but it's a different position. It's a different position. If it's one of those things where, okay, it's just a little tweak here or there with respect to his technique at left tackle, the position that he's most comfortable with, rather than trying to figure out those technique challenges playing a completely different position, that can be challenging. But we do have Laramie Tunsil currently, the incumbent at left tackle, and unless another team is willing to take on some of that contract, it's going to be difficult to move it. So I'm thinking ahead a little bit here. And the reason why I really like Ikem Ekwonu with respect to this particular selection, of course, the name of the game is protecting your quarterback, but the Texans were abysmal on the ground. We're talking last in the league in terms of total rush yards, yards per carry, and rushing TDs. So Ikem Ekwonu, that's one thing that he's going to be able to do immediately, is make a difference in terms of your running game.
Yeah, he likes to mix it up. He likes to get nasty. He's a bully. You know what I mean? So it makes sense.
I think the Texans very well are going to kind of approach it how some other teams may approach this, where they're kind of focusing in on the 2023 class, unless, of course, they get great value in the 2022 class as far as the quarterbacks are concerned. And Mills acquitted himself well. Once they decided to turn the keys over to him, I thought you saw kind of the flashes that you saw on tape, right? There was obviously precious little film and some inconsistency, but then you saw, that appears to be a professional quarterback. You know what I mean? Right. No, seriously. I mean, I don't mean that tongue in cheek. He looked like, okay.
He was coming along.
Yeah, he has some tools here. So yeah, we're gonna put Ikem out in front to protect Davis Mills, but more importantly, as far as I'm concerned, at least initially, I need Ikem to help us get, above the Mendoza line in terms of our rushing attack. All right. I'm up again with the Jets here. The Jets have 2 first-round picks, and this simplifies things for me here. Would you go with a corner here? Would you consider Kyle Hamilton here? No. With Kevin Thibodeau on the board here, I'm just
closest to the ball, bro.
Absolutely, pairing him up with Carl Lawson. You got Quinn Williams in the interior. We got to figure out a way. We got to figure a way to slow down Josh Allen. You know what I'm saying? Right. That's what it's looking like in the AFC East these days. And the AFC as a whole is filling up with a lot of talented quarterbacks. So we have to be able to affect the passer with our 4. That is of course what Robert Saleh wants to do in terms of his defense. Predominantly, he wants to be able to rush 4, drop 7, and be able to force that quarterback to get the ball out of his hands as quickly as possible. And Kayvon Thibodeau gives us that ability. Now, with respect to him, it's going to be continuing to kind of work, improve in terms of the counter moves and things of that nature. But as far as the skill set, as far as the traits, they're all there.
I don't have nothing else to add, bro. Closest to the ball is what you want. That's a dream scenario for the Jets.
It is a dream. It really is.
Yeah,
it really is.
They shouldn't even let as soon as the Texans make their pick and he's still on the board, just run it up there. We don't gotta play no games. You know how they long stroke it, bro? In terms of, what I'm saying, get up there on the first, how the first couple of picks go. It's taking too long, bro. No, get up there, call his name, and let's get to it, man. Yeah, Thibodeau's on the board for sure.
Yeah, I think in the case of the Jets, if any of these 4 players are available to them, take one.
Next up, we got the New York Giants. I got the next 4 picks too. That's crazy. This is how we mix it up for y'all, man. It makes it a little bit different, makes it a little bit harder.
Yes, it does.
You just don't know what's coming next, right?
No, I don't.
So I'm gonna go with Charles Cross here.
Okay.
We're not gonna do the George Karlaftis. We're gonna do the Charles Cross. We're gonna protect Daniel Jones, the owner. Yep. John Marr came out, had some comments saying, hey, basically this is on us as an organization by not putting the proper pieces around Daniel Jones, whether it be personnel or whether it be coaching, just different things that you like I say all the time, you want to make sure if you're going to draft a quarterback, you got to have all the pieces in place so you can evaluate them properly. Otherwise, it's a wasted pick, right? Wasted couple of years and picks, right? Because every year you're picking based off of, okay, is this the guy? Is this the guy? Or this is the guy? This is the guy? And you find out he's not. You want to do everything you can to see if he's the guy. So we're going to go out. We're going to get the next best offensive tackle in Charles Cross. Throw him at left tackle and move.
We're going to kick out Andrew Thomas.
Yeah, we're going to put him over at right tackle. Obviously, we know he's playing both positions before. So
might hurt you a little bit during the interim, during the short term.
Correct.
As he gets adjusted.
But this is long term. This is long term. We're playing the long game here, so we don't have an issue with that. He'll figure it out. Plus, we should have the coaching in there at this point. So
well, that's a big part of it. You mentioned what needs to be in place, the stability that a young quarterback needs in order to be able to be successful, in order to determine to truly evaluate that individual to see if he's going to be your franchise, whether or not you're going to give him that second year, that second contract, that big contract. That's where the big money comes in, right? The big part of it is the coaching staff. There's been a number of head coaches. There's been a number of offenses, systems that Daniel Jones has been in, and we're at that we're at the end here. You know what I'm saying? So it's tough. I honestly think that John Mara, he said all the right things. And I think he basically said, listen, we're going to outfit this team, and if Daniel Jones, turns a corner, great. If not, we're going to be players in that really impressive 2023 quarterback class. Yep.
Yeah. Or maybe there'll be a free agent out there. Who knows?
Sure.
Russ Wilson. Future down there.
I think Aaron Rodgers might be heading west. I think he's
heading west. That's what I think.
That's what I'm thinking.
All right, man. You're not gonna like this pick, but for the Carolina Panthers. Fair warning. I'm trying to let you know. You know what?
Call it audible.
Yeah, I'm gonna call it audible.
All right.
Nah. You know what? No audibles. No audibles. We're gonna get it right.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Carolina Panthers with the 6th pick overall. I'm gonna have them selecting Trevor Penning, offensive tackle out of the small school. Northern Iowa, put him on the board.
Whoa.
We got to protect our quarterback. I don't know who it's going to be. We don't know. I really and truly think that Sam Darnold is not the future there. I think I've seen enough.
I second that motion. I second that motion. I've seen enough.
Panther fan, let me know down in the comment section if you've seen enough. But at this point, right now, currently, I'm not drafting a quarterback for this team. There's no one I think that's worthy right now, high enough. Senior Bowl may change that. Pro days may change that. We'll see. But I want to protect our franchise, whoever that is, right? And the biggest issue, I think, with this team actually wasn't quarterback. I think it was the offensive line in general.
Sure.
Because, they lost Christian McCaffrey. I know that's a big piece of their offense, but at times they couldn't protect. And they definitely couldn't run the football like they're used to. And that was, a big part of that. And obviously the offensive coordinator, I think people figured him out and ended up getting, the axe in Joe Brady. But I think we got to protect the quarterback. Trevor Penning, he's got some technique things, but you know how I feel about that. If you got the coach to tinker and fix, what I'm saying? You got a player. So plug and play as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, he's a big, nasty guy. This is a little early. This is a little early for my blood. It's a little early for my blood, but I certainly understand the thought process as far as addressing the offensive line. So I assume by selecting Penning here, you're going to keep Brady Christensen inside. He played there a little bit. I think he can do it. I think he can certainly do it. That's what they drafted him for in the first place. But he'd been moonlighting inside, but been playing tackle predominantly because they just were having so many issues up front, injuries, so on and so forth. I actually thought you were going to go Linderbaum here. That was the reach that I was anticipating.
Nah. I was thinking.
Was the reach I was anticipating.
I was going to go receiver.
Really?
Yeah, I was going to go receiver, but then I thought, you know what? No, we got to protect the quarterback. They don't need a receiver that bad. I was just thinking kind of. And then I thought maybe best player available.
Sure.
Definitely wasn't going to be defense. Had to be offense because that's not for lack of resources, but just Got to do it, bro.
I don't hate it. I don't hate penning. As I've continued to evaluate and do my homework on the Northern Iowa product, I don't dislike penning. He's got some work to do. Obviously, I think what'll go a long way is his performance at the Senior Bowl as he kind of takes that step up in terms of his competition. But I think the tools are there. I think,
Right.
and I don't think that what he needs to refine is something that is so remote. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That is so, overwhelmingly this huge steep learning curve that you can't, you know what I'm saying, roll the dice on him. But it is a little early for my taste. We're not obviously doing any trades with respect to this mock draft, but if you
definitely trade down that
trade down several slots and stay in front of Baltimore, perhaps, you know what I mean? I think that is probably where we might end up seeing a Trevor Penning at that point.
All right, next up we got the Giants once again.
Yes, sir.
And I'm going defense.
All right.
And we're going to select. Is
that the guy right there? Is that the
guy? I'm going Devin Lloyd. Going linebacker. Let's go. Throw a wrench in there, bro. Just threw a wrench in there.
Did. Yes, you
Giants
did.
fans are screaming and yelling at me. And right now, they don't have a coach, right? And so we don't know what the scheme will be. But I love Devin Lloyd, and I think that it is time to change that second level, what that defense looks like. I know they obviously have Blake Martinez, got limitations. Devin Lloyd doesn't have limitations. Let's hope and pray that the Giants hire a coach that is not bland in terms of, or whoever he hires in terms of running the defense, that it's not a sit back and zone type defense, because I think then obviously wouldn't go Devin Lloyd here.
Sure.
But let's hope it's an attacking downhill defense that will, like we like to call Legos, moving pieces around,
absolutely,
pre-snap, post-snap, confusing the quarterback, confusing the front five, in terms of the offensive line, and just trying to cause chaos up front, man.
I will say this, that I was very much looking forward to selecting Devin Lloyd with the Broncos pick at 9th overall. And I do not consider Devin Lloyd a thumper. I consider him a missile. The violence and the speed and the ability to be effective, whether he's going downhill, sideline to sideline, or going backwards. It's impressive. And in this league, in this passing league, you need that kind of athleticism paired up with quality instincts. You know what I'm saying? It's not just one of those guys who, check all the boxes from a physical standpoint, but don't know can't process, can't figure out what's going on around him. We saw some of that this past week in the divisional round, of the playoffs. Like there's some guys who really look the part, but the football IQ isn't necessarily where it needs to be. That isn't the case with Devin Lloyd.
All right, next up, man, we got the Atlanta Falcons, and I have them selecting Kyle Hamilton.
All right.
Just as far as I'm concerned, at this point, best player available. Falcons are going to need what they call it, the trio. They're going to need Jesus.
Oh, come on.
The Holy Spirit.
The Holy Trinity, bro.
The Holy Trinity, bro. They need all three, bro. They're going to need it, because looking at this roster, when you look at what's to come this offseason, they got a lot of free agents. They're not going to have the money, really. They're going to kind of pick and choose who they're going to have to. So, listen, just best player available. It's just kind of just whoever is the best up there. Doesn't matter what the position is, pick it, and let's just keep moving.
Right. It's not pretty.
No.
It really isn't pretty. When you start to kind of look at what the Falcons have from a talent standpoint in terms of them being under contract beyond 2022,
it's a problem. It's a big problem.
It's a problem. Yes. They obviously need talent, right? And you want to draft best player available, but they are one of those teams that I think needs to be trading out.
Trade down.
They need
Baltimore.
They need capital. They need as many whacks at trying to stuff this roster with talent as they possibly can, because they have to rebuild. This has to be. They cannot have step here.
Bro,
they can't have one foot in, 1 foot out. Yeah.
A Madden rebuild, bro.
Yes,
just
absolutely.
Tear it down and
tear it down. Tear it down. Turn the cap penalties off.
Go to work, bro.
Go to work, man. All right. So we got the Denver Broncos on the clock, as I mentioned before. Drew hated, and he selected Devin Lloyd. I was going to tighten up that second level of defense. I really like, Josie Jewell and Johnson coming downhill, but they struggle in pass defense. And then in this particular league, we got to have it. We got to have it, especially for facing the likes of and then on top of that, the injuries. But facing the likes of Kansas City and Los Angeles, we got to be better in terms of defending the pass at all levels of the defense, right? But alas, that wasn't the case. But I'm very comfortable. I'm very comfortable with George Karlaftis here. There was an in-season trade of Von Miller. Karlaftis is a guy that obviously can be the bookend of Bradley Chubb, and I think those two could be a dynamic duo. Depending on the down and distance, you can slide Karlaftis in. And we don't know exactly ultimately what this defense is going to look like. They've been a 34 defense under Vic Fangio. They could very well be going to a 4-3 base. You know what I mean? And Karlaftis has that scheme versatility either way. Doesn't matter. And again, the name of the game is being able to get after the passer from a defensive standpoint. And I'm anticipating with this selection, considering that Denver has hired offensive coordinator or the Green Bay Packers former offensive coordinator, Nathaniel Hackett. Aaron Rodgers is a big fan of Nathaniel Hackett. I think they're positioning themselves in order to obviously acquire Rodgers. They might even get Devontae Adams as part of that deal with kind of a sign and trade type of situation with the Packers ultimately giving him the tag and then trading him away. They may have to give up some capital, you know what I'm saying, in terms of a Jerry Jeudy or a Cortland Sutton, among other things, in order to acquire him.
Fix it. Oh, now they want to fix the receiver core.
Well,
okay, all right.
Well,
okay,
a little too late. But now that things are kind of in motion, I'm not sure if Denver will actually have this 9th overall pick. If they're making a move for Adams, I'm not sure that they'll have it. But as of right now, I'm anticipating Aaron Rodgers in Denver. And I love George Karlaftis in this spot in lieu of Devin Lloyd.
I'll say anything about George Karlaftis because I'll just say this: he's one of my favorite coming out in this draft. Got a video coming out just talking about top 5 plays. Scouting report on Karlaftis. I think you'll like it. Like, subscribe, comment.
Yeah.
And let me know how you feel about the video. But coming soon.
Yeah, the power and the explosion throughout his stance is impressive. And like I said, the versatility and the fact that motor is always going. I think a lot of people are sleeping on Karlaftis. So definitely looking forward to that scouting report. With the 10th overall pick, the New York Jets are back on the clock. And of course, the Jets were previously gifted Kayvon Thibodeau. What do we do from here, Drew? What do we do from here? Because I'm thinking, we could really tighten up this offensive line. Although, George Fant, acquitted himself well. We're getting Mekhi Becton back. Elijah Barrett-Tucker is going to be a stud. Do we go back to the defensive side of the ball? Do we go receiver? They really struggled to catch the football this past season. They didn't help Zach Wilson from that perspective. We could potentially go receiver here, but you know what I'm ultimately going to do? Like I said, we got to figure out how to slow down Josh Allen, man. We got to slow him down in order to consistently put yourself in a position to play postseason ball. You got to score points. But in order to win postseason games, I think you got to get some stops, man. The divisional round demonstrated that. At some point, you have to be able to get a stop. There are teams who had the game won, and they lost it in the final moments of the game simply because they couldn't get a stop. You know what I mean? And that's where the old adage of defense wins championships comes to play. So I'm going to address the defense once again. I'm going to go to the 3rd level. I would have liked Kyle Hamilton here. The cupboard is bare as far as safeties are concerned. However, he went off the board previously. I'm going to go with, dare I say, cornerback number 1, Ahmad Gardner. Check out that scouting report that we have out on Ahmad Gardner. I really do suggest it. I'll put that link in the description. So check that out. Gardner profiles to me as a ideal cover 3 corner with the ability to play man-to-man coverage. The makeup speed is incredible. The tenacity, the dogged mentality, I think will play and just fit in with that New York Jersey kind of, thought process, that vibe. You know what I mean? I think this is a match made in heaven as far as him being in that deep third more often than not. The ball skills are there. The willingness to come up and support in the run. Stingley has the question marks in terms of injuries and just consistency in terms of his play. You know what I mean? There's some significant question marks there. Yes, the skill set is there, but it's hard to argue with Ahmad Gardner and how effective he's been. He's never given up a touchdown and over 1,000 pass coverage snaps. It's just he's been amazing. And watching him on tape, seeing how he does things. There's area to improve technically, but at nearly 6'3", with that kind of length and makeup speed, you can't teach that type of thing, and you certainly can't teach his effort that he gives play in and play out.
Definitely strengthen up the Jets cornerback room, because a lot of those guys, a lot of guys got snaps that shouldn't have gotten the amount of snaps.
It was a good thing. It was a good thing. But they need to play more of a complementary role than more of a primary role. You know what I mean? Sub packages in that instance. And I like the idea of Bryce Hall and Gardner on the boundary. I really like the idea of that. I think they're playing with house money in terms of Bryce Hall because of an injury kind of depressed his value. But he's a good player. He's a good player. And the Jets, they were a bad pass defense. They couldn't stop anybody. So I think Mark Gardner goes a long way, particularly when you now get Carl Lawson back, and then you got Thibodeau opposite him. I think we're now we're working with something here.
You're cooking, bro. Yeah, man. All right, next up we got the Washington football team. And I'm gonna throw another wrench in here, and we're gonna select Kenny Pickett.
All right.
And you know how I feel about first one off the board. You know how I feel about Heineke, but
your boy.
I also understand what I like about him. He's a gamer, but he got limitations.
Yes, he does.
Right, and so we need a guy who doesn't have limitations, and Kenny Pickett. Services the whole field's gonna give you. He's gonna see everything, right? He's gonna get the ball out. He's got the arm strength. Not to say this team was a quarterback short. I think they had some other issues going on there, but I think it's time to get a guy with some top level talent, man. Because the Washington football team, I was gonna do it, bro. I was gonna do it. The Washington football team, they just. For every 2 or 3 good plays the quarterback position has, and that goes both for Heineke and Fitzpatrick, who obviously didn't play much this year, there's always like that question of like, what are you doing? Like, why is this happening? Right. And Pickett's a guy who's not going to make those mistakes. Obviously he may make them the first couple of years in the league, but I think this is a guy who's going to round out to be one of the top quarterbacks eventually in the league. And he's consistent. You need consistency at the quarterback position, and you don't necessarily get that in Heineke. So
let me ask you this before you move on to your Vikings pick. Any concerns? What would you say to people who are concerned about the meteoric leap Pickett took in his final year at Pittsburgh?
I would say that he played a lot of football. I would say that he's improved. I would say that there's a guy in Cincinnati who did the same thing. You know what I'm saying? So Pickett rose to the occasion. You know what I'm saying? And they kind of got that similar, swag. Like, I'm here for it. Let's get it. You know what I'm saying?
Make plays in and out of structure. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So,
not necessarily the biggest arm, but
Right.
Playmaker. Yeah.
It wasn't like he wasn't playing quarterback and came on, walked on, and won a job, and he's that guy. You know what I mean? Like there's history there. There's a number of snaps there. Like he's played. You know what I'm saying? It's just that nobody really Kenny Pickett. All right, Pittsburgh.
Mobile,
okay.
Drew. Mobile, man.
Mobile's gonna
be amazing. Yeah, it's gonna be amazing in Mobile, man. Absolutely.
All right, man. Next up, we have the Minnesota Vikings. Got the new GM over there. Don't know who the coach is gonna be, but we got the new GM. And I'm going to throw another curveball.
You're throwing a bunch of off-speed pitches.
Man.
A bunch of breaking pitches.
Yeah, man. I'm the new GM. I'm going to bring my guy in. Okay, we're going to run this contract out in terms of Kirk Cousins.
Okay.
But I'm going to bring my guy in, okay?
All right. You want to do it this year, not next year?
Yeah. Let's do it this year, man.
All right.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Sure?
I'm ready.
All right. I'm going Sam Howell, man.
All right.
Let's get it.
How it is.
And
there are parallels. I'm gonna be real with you. There are parallels. I think the way they drop it in the bucket, I think is similar.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think with the talent that the Vikings have, and I think Sam Howell is one of those guys. He's a guy who can raise the level of play for the team that he's around. May take some time. He did that this year with losing all the talent that he lost last year. But this is a guy who, listen, he's going to put him in that Vikings offense. You know what I'm saying? A guy who can move around the pocket. We know the Vikings O-line is a work in progress. It's coming along there. Got Dalvin, you got the superstar receivers. I mean, the issue with this team is, again, consistency at the quarterback position, because we know what Kirk Cousins is. He's streaky, and Sam Howell doesn't necessarily have to start this year. I know he's being picked number 12 here, so it's a lot. Hey man, as soon as Kirk Cousins runs into that little that bad streak, people are gonna be screaming for Howell, man. But you don't have to rush this thing. You know what I'm saying, in terms of putting him out on the field. And I know cornerback is an eyesore for this team, but the cornerback class, I think, is deep. And I think it's something you'll be able to pick up, later on in the draft.
Okay, you definitely threw a curveball there. Definitely threw a curveball there. It doesn't necessarily impact me, but it definitely gave me something to think about. We got the Cleveland Browns up next, and I think it really comes down to two positions, frankly. Edge to figure out what's kind of going on opposite our guy Myles Garrett, or receiver. You know what I mean? We're trying to determine whether Baker Mayfield is the guy. We're still trying to make that determination, even though he had Beckham and Landry and but of course, we're not anticipating either of those players. Of course, Beckham's already gone, but Landry in all likelihood won't be back in 2022. I think we need to go receiver here, right? In order to really give that final evaluation of Mayfield, see if we're going to give him the big money. The question is, which receiver? Okay. In reality, I believe the first receiver off the board will be Treylon Burks. I think after all of the athletic testing, people get a good sense and they see what kind of athlete he is, and the fact that he's not so raw that you're scared away in terms of him being able to consistently create separation. I don't think people want to make the mistake again associated with AJ Brown and DK Metcalf. So Treylon Burks is definitely going to go in the first round, and I anticipate he'll be the first receiver off the board in reality. But in this particular mock draft, I'm going to go with the guy that I've been a big fan of for a long time, and that's Garrett Wilson. It's Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson, his skill set is as impressive as any receiver. Maybe not necessarily the same stature of receiver as a Treylon Burks, not as physically imposing as Drake London, but certainly what he does at the catch point and after the catch is special. And I think he's a much, much better route runner than either London or Burks, right? He may not necessarily reach his former teammate, Chris Olave, in terms of the route running, but I think he can create separation. And that's what I'm looking for here. When we talk about Baker Mayfield, we talk about a lot of play action. We talk about rhythm. We talk about timing. Garrett Wilson's going to be where he needs to be, and he's going to give you a target to work with. And even if you are off target, he has the kind of athleticism and body control to come down and make a play for the quarterback. So I'm comfortable with Garrett Wilson here. I don't think there's anything he can't do on the field, and I really think his ability to consistently beat man coverage, his route running, is underrated. Everybody talks about the athleticism and the kind of the glitz and glamour, at the catch point and after the catch, especially in the open field. But before, what he does before the ball is even in the air is very good, very impressive as well. So Garrett Wilson to the Browns. All right. And next up, the Baltimore Ravens. Now, Ravens, they need to address the trenches as far as I'm concerned. They certainly can stand to address their secondary as well. They were ravaged by injuries. Of course, they want to play lots of man. Wink Martindale isn't there anymore, so there may be a little bit of a philosophical shift. If I'm not mistaken, John Harbaugh hired Jim Harbaugh as defensive coordinator from Michigan, which Michigan plays a ton of man coverage as well. We got to do a better job of getting to the passer. You can't sit in man all day, or any coverage for that matter, and not be able to affect the passer. The Ravens are one of the worst teams against the pass. They're one of the worst teams in terms of getting to the quarterback. Now, against my better judgment, instead of going corner here, because of the injuries they're faced, because of all the challenges associated with that, I'm going to address that defensive line because, again, they don't necessarily have the horses in play. At this juncture, I don't want to go back to the well in terms of a developmental pass rusher, i.e. Odafe Owe. I want to get somebody in there who's going to be able to put his hand in the ground and be able to make a difference, whether he's rushing from the interior, off the edge. And I believe that guy is DeMarvin Leal. I think his versatility is what Baltimore Ravens are made of. And I think just being in that environment, that culture, will get the most out of him. Really start to that light bulb, the talent is obviously there, but to ensure that we're getting that consistent effort, I think being in that environment, being in that kind of locker room, can unlock that from him. Saying he'll join his former teammate, Justin Madubuike. I would have loved to bolster this offensive line, and there's some options there. There's some options there, but I figure
you're trying to reach with what's on the board.
No. And I think you can continue to work on that. I think there's more options. Along the offensive line and at corner. I don't think you're going to find a guy quite as versatile and with this kind of upside along the defensive line. You know what I'm saying? As in day 2 and day 3, to be honest with you.
Next up, we got back-to-back picks, man. We're going defense here, heavy defense. We got to fix this defense, and we got to get a pass rush. Since this is the most zoned up team in the league, like to sit back and let things kind of come to them, and then they rally to tackle. We're going to go ahead and we're going to draft an edge player in David Ajabo out of Michigan, the technician, the man with a plan. Speed and burst off the edge, has some work to do in terms of his run fits and defending the run, holding the edge. But we'll figure that out. Obviously, he was opposite Aiden Hutchinson at Michigan, but we gotta, what's going on with Derek Barnett, and that whole defensive line. Ryan Kerrigan, is he coming back? Or what's going on there? He wasn't obviously a full-time player there, so we got to get a guy who can affect the passer if we're going to play zone coverage, right? Because if you're going to play zone coverage, you got to be able to affect the passer. Otherwise, it doesn't work. You just get picked apart like they did in the playoff game. So, all right, man. And with the next pick, we're going back to defense. And, when you do get that pass rush, and the quarterback gets a little nervous, gets hurried, as you call it, they make mistakes.
He throws it to Andrew Booth.
Yeah. He throws it to Andrew Booth Jr. So let's go ahead and do the right thing. It's a guy who has the ball skills to catch those errant passes, those quick thrown bad passes by the quarterback, because Ajabo is doing his job along with Fletcher Cox.
All right. We got the Los Angeles Chargers. By the way, I think those are 2 excellent picks. Not only do they address needs, but very talented upside guys. I considered Ajabo at 14, but again, I'm staying away from the inexperienced pass rusher here. After drafting, I need something that I can dig my sink my teeth into a little bit more.
Right.
And of course, in terms of Baltimore's down line, they could be transitioning as far as their defensive front. And they have quite a few guys that are going to be unrestricted free agents or in their last deal, including Calais Campbell. So that's why I went Leal over Ajabo. But Ajabo to Philly, and then you follow up with an Andrew Booth. That's a really, really quality start there in terms of retooling that defense. All right. So with the Chargers up next, the Chargers have, some question marks, particularly on the defensive side of the ball. They are a run funnel defense. Jordan Davis out of Georgia is a popular mock draft selection here. And I'm considering it, man. I'm considering it. But you know what? I'm also thinking in terms of, hey, we might have to keep pace a little bit in this conference, or rather in this division. You know what I'm saying? Especially if Aaron Rodgers is now joining Denver, you're already looking up at Kansas City. You couldn't put away Las Vegas. You know what I'm saying? He didn't score enough points there. But as I mentioned before, as important as it is, especially today in modern football, to be able to score points, you still got to be able to get stops in the most critical moments. And if you're getting gas on the ground, there's no helping you. There's absolutely no helping you with respect to that. I'm going to go with Nakobe Dean, and people might be a little frustrated with this particular selection, considering that you recently drafted Kenneth Murray. I've been unimpressed, and Nakobe Dean can come in here. He can be an immediate leader at the second level of your defense. He does everything very well. He may not necessarily be the missile that Devin Lloyd is, but he's not too far off in terms of just the physical tools and ability. I love the instincts. And I think the Chargers have a tendency to lose it, between the ears, right? Break down fundamentally. One of the most impressive things that I saw demonstrated by Nakobe Dean, not just throughout his career, his impressive career, but during the college football playoff most recently, everybody talks about how he snuffed out that pass when he came way across from one side of the field to the next during the Orange Bowl. But it was the red zone defense during the national championship, when a teammate didn't necessarily do his job, and Dean challenged him. And then that very next play, that same teammate made the play. You know what I'm saying? And the first player there to obviously congratulate him and you know what I'm saying, juice him up was Nakobe Dean. You know what I mean? So I think he does more for your defense than just simply add another talented player at the second level to help, slow down that rushing attack, improve your run defense. I think he's a leader. I think he can become the leader of that defense.
Yeah, I would agree. I like the pick, man. I know the Chargers, fans, linebacker is not something they want to.
Kenneth Murray, listen, man, Kenneth Murray's not even starting.
Yeah, what's going on with him, man? Hit us in the comments.
Yeah, let us know.
What's going on there, man? Because we know Chargers sweep up the middle, man.
Yeah.
All right, man. Next up, we have the New Orleans Saints, Nolans, and we know the Sean Payton list. He's out of there. He's retiring or stepping away, whatever you want to call it. And you know what?
They need to trade this pick for some cap relief.
Yeah, they need to do something, bro, because it's not good.
Sean Payton said, "No, I'm out."
Yeah, I'm out.
Sean Payton gave Taysom some money. I was like, "All right, I'm clearing."
Yeah, bro, I got you, bro, but just understand I won't be here. So you got to take care of these boys. Now I'm gonna go receiver here. I was thinking going corner, opposite Lattimore. But they actually drafted a corner last year. Austin's
a baller.
They stole him, bro. Like he was a steal. Excuse me, he was a steal where they got him. Because at one point he was supposed to be one of the top corners coming out. Sure. They got hurt and had a couple of bad games, and then people just forgot about him. So, but I'm going with Treylon Burks. Receiver out of Arkansas. We've talked about this numerous times. Size, speed, ability to make people miss after the catch. He's everything you want in a receiver. He's not the most polished, but I don't worry about that. As long as I've seen him run routes. He has some polish to him. It's just not to the level of some of the top tier guys. And I'm okay with that when you have the explosive ability that he has. We'll figure it out. And if he never figures it out, we'll get him the football some way, somehow, so he can do damage in the open field. And it's a team that's lacking that because we have no idea what's going on with Michael Thomas, and then it's kind of everybody else. So
kind of everybody else.
All right, man. Next up, we back up with the Eagles' third pick, man. I've been going back and forth in my head in terms of should I stay defense, or should I go
do the right thing,
offense, and draft a receiver because people can't stand Rager, however y'all want to pronounce it. I know how he pronounces it. People can't stand him, and a lot of that's because they passed Justin Jefferson for him, and he's pretty much failed this team, and they're not happy about it. I get it. I understand it. But I don't think you guys lost outright games because, you actually probably did because of him. but he's also a work in progress, man. He's coming along.
Sure.
Was he in his third year?
Yeah, this will be his third year coming out.
You know what I'm saying? Like, let's chill. Let's give him a breather. Let's let him get it together. Now after this year, they also need to do that too. Yeah. But we're gonna go defense here, man.
Really?
Yeah, we're gonna go defense, man.
Okay. All right.
And we're gonna go Devontae Wyatt.
Ooh, Drew, why you did that, man? Come on, man.
I looked at you when I said it because I want to see your face.
Come on, man. It's my guy, man.
This is your guy. 3 technique. He's probably the best 3 technique coming out. And you know what comes with a 3 technique, right? First step quickness. Mm-hmm. He comes with a level of violence. Usually with those 3 technique guys, there's not much violence coming with him. Nah, he coming with violence.
Bad intention.
He's a student of the games that you play up front in terms of stunts and text games and different things. He has it. He knows. He's got the pace, the variations. He's got some moves. And we just we're going to play zone coverage. Okay, cool. We're going to play zone coverage. We're not changing the defensive coordinator. We're not changing the scheme. Mm-hmm. Fine. We're going to help everybody else by applying pressure. And then everybody on the back end is going to do their job by being near the football when it's up in the air.
All right. I mean, listen, it's hard to argue with that. it's hard to argue with that. I wasn't anticipating him just quite yet.
Right.
Thought I might be able to, in the 20s, be able to, add a 3 technique, but unfortunately, it went the way of Devin Lloyd. We got the Pittsburgh Steelers on the clock, but before I go there, Brandon Brooks retires. Jason Kelce, in all likelihood, won't be back. There's some interior offensive linemen on the board here.
We'll see. Now we'll sweeten the pot, bro. We'll sweeten the pot.
All right.
Reel them on back in, man.
Fair enough. All right, with the Pittsburgh Steelers up next, there's only 2 places that I think you can really go at this juncture. It's either the offensive line. There's some interior guys that I really like. I'm not necessarily comfortable going with a tackle here, but there's some interior guys here that I like, whether it be Tyler Linderbaum, Kenyon Green, Zion Johnson. Those are the 3 that I'm eyeing right here. But there's also the elephant in the room in terms of the quarterback position. Ben Roethlisberger has officially retired. The Pittsburgh Steelers only have 1 quarterback under contract, and only for 1 year. That happens to be Mason Rudolph. Again, if you're thinking in terms of, you know what, we'll take our lumps. Let's do what we can in order to improve this offensive line. Maybe we get in the Russell Wilson conversation. Perhaps, maybe there's another veteran quarterback that might be of interest to us. But maybe we're just going to punt. Maybe we're just going to punt and say, hey, 2023 quarterback class, or perhaps go, grab a Zappe maybe in the next round, maybe something along those lines. But at the risk of ruining the quarterback because of the offensive line, it's one of those things, man, where the quarterback play was not good this year. Ben Roethlisberger had not been good for an extended period of time. It got exacerbated because the Pittsburgh Steelers have let that offensive line deteriorate. I think they need to make it a point in free agency and with the balance of their draft in order to retool that offensive line to get better up front. But I cannot possibly roll out Mason Rudolph week 1. And there's no guarantee in terms of whether or not you have the assets in order to acquire one of these, veteran quarterbacks, particularly if Aaron Rodgers is earmarked for the Denver Broncos. I think that kind of changes the playing field as well. So I'm going to go with Malik Willis here. I think he's the quarterback with the highest upside between Corral, and Ritter. Corral and Ritter probably are a little bit further along in terms of, what you'd like to see out of a prospect. You know what I'm saying? But I think Willis has a unique skill set. And I think, while all 3 of those quarterbacks have a certain level of athleticism, can extend plays, Willis is on a different level. I think he's on a different level. I think his arm strength will cut through, those cold wintry nights in Pittsburgh. You know what I'm saying? And of course, that division has filled up very quickly, especially with Joe Burrow, rising to the top. You know what I'm saying? He's playing at kind of an MVP level, outside of, the likes of Aaron Rodgers and Josh Allen. As far as that conference is concerned, or rather that division is concerned, you need a quarterback. You need a quarterback. Yes, the offensive line has to get better. And under different circumstances, I certainly would have gone there. But considering that the cupboard is bare at quarterback, let's bring in Malik Willis, and let's use the rest of our assets in terms of finding a way to protect him.
I object because of the offensive line, but I understand the pick in terms of, we need that position so bad.
The point that I want to drive home here is that I'm with you typically. Generally speaking, I'm with you. More often than not, I'm with you. Figure it out up front and then address the quarterback position. However, Steelers have had an issue at quarterback for several years now. Yeah. It's not just that, okay, well, Ben was playing behind a bad offensive line and they were bad. No. It was exacerbated because the offensive line was so bad. But Ben Roethlisberger has been poor. And just imagine that as bad as Roethlisberger has been, it's been substantially worse when you have to turn it over to Mason Rudolph. So we're not doing that. We're just not doing it. I'm not having it.
Or right? Duck Rodgers, bro.
Duck Rodgers, bro. Anyway, we have the New England Patriots up next with the 21st overall pick in our head-to-head 2022 NFL mock draft. And I'm going receiver here. Now, there are a lot of names, as you can see. I've already decided the position that I'm working on here. There are some good names here. There's some quality names here. Do I want the speed merchant and Jamison Williams? Do I want the route running aficionado and Chris Olave? Do I want the physical specimen and Drake London? I think all of those guys can make a difference in New England, but I for quite some time now have felt that Chris Olave is the best fit. I think he gives you a little bit of everything as far as route running and speed. He's not necessarily playing above the rim, but there's a toughness associated with him. There's a competitiveness that reminds me of Justin Jefferson. And we know what Justin Jefferson has done in this league. I think he's one of those guys that kind of went after several receivers, right?
Right.
And has turned out to be the most effective in that class to date. I think Chris Olave has that chance. And I want to give a guy like that to my guy, Mac Jones, here in New England. I'm still on the clock.
Yeah, man.
Picks in a row here. I got the Las Vegas Raiders. Las Vegas Raiders here. And the Raiders, the Raiders, they need stuff.
They do need some stuff, bro. They lack a little bit. Eh?
They need some stuff here, man. There's some good interior offensive linemen on the board here.
There's some good players here, bro. What's going on?
They really are. There's some names that probably should have already come off the board.
Yeah. Somebody gonna fall. A couple people gonna fall every draft, man.
It's always bound to happen. It's always bound to happen. I think they have a glaring need at corner. And then receiver as well with Darren Waller kind of looking like a shell of himself when he came back from injury. I'm sure he'll be fine going into 2022. The emergence of Hunter Renfrow, I always knew Renfrow had it in him. He just needed an opportunity. But of course, no Henry Ruggs. Brian Edwards hasn't taken that step yet. The offense needs more speed on the perimeter, but I also feel like they need a true number one. They need a true number one. Now, can Jameson Williams be that guy? Potentially, yes. Jahan Dotson, certainly. But I'm gonna go with the local guy. Maybe not local anymore, but closest in proximity. I'm gonna go with Drake London. I want the big target. I want the guy who can make plays after the catch. I want the radius. I want the red zone prowess. That's what I want. I want a guy who's going to just, usurp targets and make plays, whether they're contested or whether he's open. You know what I mean? I think the chemistry that Derek Carr and Darren Waller have presented because of that size-speed combination has been impressive. I think you can get something similar like that out of Drake London as well. So that's the direction I'm going to go in here.
I thought that's where you might go. I wasn't sure.
Yeah. Like I said, there's some good players on the board here. I think there's definitely a need at corner. Stingley being on the board here, Khalil Elam, my guy Roger McCreary, all of those guys are in play. They can stand to improve their offensive line, but I really like the idea of having a guy like Drake London who's going to be a mismatch just because of his sheer size, along with the likes of Darren Waller. And then, of course, you got Hunter Renfrow making the plays on the option routes and in the slot, man. I think, again, in that particular division, you're going to have to score some points or you're going to have to stop the opposition from scoring, right? You're going to have to affect the passer or be able to throw the football. And I think Drake London, considering the tear that he was on before his injury, I can see a scenario where Drake London goes, another 5, maybe even 10 picks higher than this particular selection.
Well, hopefully he's able. I don't know the timetable on that, but in terms of getting healthy and being able to participate even in the combine or at the very worst, this pro day, you know what I mean? So, because I'd love to see him, be able to fly up the draft board.
Definitely,
because he deserves it. He's worked himself into that position. So, we're gonna make this real simple, man. I mean, what the Cardinals need right now, and before I say the pick, I need y'all to like, subscribe, and comment, man. First of all, subscribing is free. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I was looking at the numbers today, bro. It's like 98% and change of people that watch our content already even subscribe, bro. Like we sound, you know what I sound like? I sound like what people say in their YouTube videos. Why wouldn't you just hit the subscribe button? Like, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Are they like me where they got like, they subscribe to like 200 channels, and 180 of those are your children just picking whatever, you know what I'm saying?
That's probably the case.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just looking like, I don't watch this. Like, what is going on? This kid's trash, bro.
You know how it is in mock draft season, man.
Yeah.
You know how it's mock draft season, but
we gonna bring it weekly. So why would you not? You know what I'm saying?
But to your point, we're gonna go well beyond mock drafts as well. You guys want to stick around. You want to stick around for the content that we have coming for you. That's for sure.
Come on, man. We're going to the Senior Bowl. We're gonna do some live too, bro. We're gonna do some live. I've been thinking in my mind. We're gonna do some live. You know what I'm saying? so that you can get that, hit the subscribe button, hit the little notification, turn it from, I think it's from, I don't know. Let me not say that. It goes to gray. That's all I know. You need to make that notification part gray or ungray. Whatever gets you to know whatever it is, so that you know when we drop a video, it comes up in your feed there. So, but for the Cardinals here, it's either corner or offensive line, and it's interior for offensive line. And we got, arguably the best corner. I don't think so, but arguably the best corner and arguably the best interior or the best offensive lineman in this draft. You know what I'm saying? So, and Linderbaum and Stingley. But I'm going to go Linderbaum here.
All right.
Arguably the best offensive lineman in the draft. Some people are hitting me down in the comment section. What is this guy talking about? That's fine. Some people thought he should have, won the Heisman. Like to me, he's that good. You know what I mean? But offensive lineman, that'll never happen until they, create a stat for offensive linemen. It's the only reason they haven't gotten it yet, just so y'all know. But we saw what Kyler Murray looked like when in that playoff game. Like the team looked like they shouldn't have been there in the first place, but
that's true.
He looked the worst by far. Like, I understand the pressure was coming, but some of them, like he was seeing ghosts, bro. He was
seeing apparitions.
You know what I'm saying? Like he was
phantoms.
He was moving before he needed to move.
He was rattled.
He wasn't stepping up. It was bad, man. At a certain point in the game, I was like, yeah, Arizona has no chance here. There's nothing offensively that they were doing. It was bad, and offensive line wise, it wasn't good. And I know obviously they're playing the vaunted LA Rams, but like damn, weren't y'all like 6-0 at one point? Rolling over people, handling business. You know what I mean? And we know here at CPGM the biggest issue with this team obviously is their the middle of their defense. I think their offensive line and cornerback, but one of the biggest issues is the scheme that they run in terms of that offense. It's just not good. We've been saying that forever. There's a video out that Juice put out. I think was it last year or the year before last? It was year before last. Yep. Yeah, that speaks to the issues that's wrong with the Cardinals, and they haven't changed. You got to evolve as a coach, and Cliff refuses to change, and that's going to end up being his demise. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, it is what it is.
It's what it is.
Next up, got the Dallas Cowboys, Juice's team.
Come on.
Okay. Just wanted to jab you there. And we know that this team could use some offensive line help. They could use some coaching help, specifically head coaching help. They need some secondary help, and we're going to go ahead and take Stingley at this point.
Okay.
The value's too high. We know what the talent is. I would say he probably is the most talented corner in this draft, but can I get it every play? And can he stay healthy? Those are the two questions. That's it.
Sure.
Busting. That's it. If he can stay healthy and he can perform as he performs, like he did in his freshman year, then you probably got top 3 player in this draft. You got top 3 player in this draft.
He has it all as far as the physical tools, and even from a technique standpoint, his technique is excellent. It's just
clean, bro. It's clean.
It's just consistency, and then of course you add in the concerns regarding being able to stay healthy, but it's just a consistency thing. It's a concentration thing, and some people have alluded to the effort aspect of things, which is a no-no. That's a huge red flag. They talk about injuries and the medical history being a red flag. I assume if he goes to the combine and he checks out, then his stock will continue to tick up, even with some of the concerns about his on-field play at times. I think he's just so talented. There's going to be a defensive coordinator, a defensive backs coach who says, listen, let me just get a hold of this guy because he's got it all, man. He really has it all. Yeah. I actually was considering Stingley at 25, but I'm glad you made my choice easier on me because I must say, I don't know that I want a guy who lines up and press, but never actually puts his hands on the receiver. Especially after the Buffalo Bills gave up the lead with 13 seconds.
Gave up the booty.
And I'm not going to belabor the point because it was really bad. I mean, when you call multiple timeouts and you do nothing to actually adjust, you don't disrupt the timing when the team when you're playing the boundary and the team has timeouts, You know, that's a whole separate video, man. But two things that I look at, rather three things that I look at with this Buffalo Bills team. I think they could still stand to improve along their offensive line. I think Josh Allen does a lot to cover up some of their deficiencies with respect to that. Can they improve the pass rush? Certainly, but they've put some draft capital into that. I think they should go the veteran route to continue to round out that particular group, the down line, that rotation. I have substantial question marks regarding Tremaine Edmonds. I am not a fan. I'm not a fan. Again, that's the guy I was kind of alluding to earlier in terms of having all the physical attributes and all those traits, but it's just not clicking. You know, the instincts are non-existent. The awareness is a 12. You know, if you're familiar with Madden, you know, he's biting on the play action every time. There's too many times where receivers are crossing his face and he's not making a play. You know what I'm saying? There's just too many times he's out of position. You know what I mean? So, if there's a Nakobe Dean or a Devin Lloyd on the board at that time, I would run that pick up to the podium. Yeah. However, that isn't the case. So I'm going to look at that secondary. I'm going to look at that secondary, and I want guys who are actually going to challenge receivers at the line of scrimmage. I want guys who have the confidence and the technical ability to control, to disrupt the timing of the pass. Now, if you have those 5 yards to work with, you had better use them. Otherwise, you need to lay off altogether. And when you're playing a team like Kansas City, because that's the team you got to get through, they've sent you home twice back to back now. Whether it be Kelsey, whether it be the options outside of Tyreek Hill, generally you want to give him a cushion. But if you got a safety over the top, get physical with him. Take a shot. Get physical with him. And the one guy, or rather, there's two guys in particular that I think are adept at that. But the guy that I think who's best at it, is my guy Roger McCreary, man.
Of course it is, bro.
That's my guy Roger McCreary, man. I know you like the Kyer Elam right here, but Roger McCreary is my guy, man. I got to do it. High football IQ. Doesn't matter what the scheme is. And no corner in this class. Check out that scouting report, 5 plays, right? No corner in this class has more snaps in press coverage than Roger McCreary.
Can't argue with it, bro. Can't argue with it. I like the pick, but you know me. I don't want Elam, but it is what it is. I understand. And McCreary, we've said it in these past couple of videos. McCreary is probably going to creep up the draft because he's going to be able to go to the Senior Bowl and talk to coaches and scouts and different things.
I think so. He's actually from Mobile. I think that's his hometown.
He's home.
Yeah,
okay.
He's home. Okay. So I think he's gonna have a remarkable week. Personally, I think so. Outside of an injury, I think he's going to help himself quite a bit. So we have the Tennessee Titans on the board here on the clock. There's a number of different directions you can certainly go into. I really want to address the quarterback position. However, it doesn't look like they're going to be able to get out of Tannehill's deal after 2022. I think they're going to have to actually play it out. So I'm going to stay away from quarterback at this juncture. That could change. Things obviously can change, but I think I'm going to stay away from that. They certainly could address their offensive line. It's a good group. They can be better. There's contracts coming to an end here soon, guys, in 1-year deals, or rather in the final year of their deal going into 2022. But we have a window here. You understand what I'm saying, Drew? We have a window here. We've been right there on the precipice, but we just haven't been able to get over the hump. I'm going to go a little off the board here. Because, of course, there's some question marks on the defensive side of the ball as well. But considering the injuries that A.J. Brown and Julio Jones had, the way their season ended with Tannehill forcing it into Westbrook of all the receiving options, I want to give Tannehill another weapon here. And like I said, if Tannehill doesn't get it done this year, certainly there's a possibility that we drafted the quarterback anyway here in day 2, perhaps. Right. You know what I'm saying? But I want to give whomever is going to be the quarterback as many weapons as possible, including that beast in the backfield. So I'm going to go grab your guy. I'm going to grab Jahan Dotson. Very explosive receiver out of Penn State. I think he slots in, and he's a problem, right? Yep. If you have Julio Jones and A.J. Brown flanking this guy, Jahan Dotson is going to do damage. Assuming he stays healthy, I think because he has receiver 1. He could be your lead dog in an NFL passing attack. And I don't know what you do even with some question marks at the quarterback position, I'm not sure how you defend Derrick Henry in the backfield, a healthy Derrick Henry with those three receivers. So I'm going to go Jahan Dotson. They're right there. They're right there, man. They just, that great effort from that defense in the divisional game against the Bengals. They sacked Joe Burrow 9 times. They just couldn't score any points, man. So I'm going to give them another weapon here to see if they can actually light up that scoreboard more.
Yeah, man. I mean, this is an offense that, they want to kind of run through Derrick Henry, play action, take their shots. And they have dynamic receivers in, a lesser Julio Jones, let's be honest.
Sure.
Due to injury and things, hopefully comes back as the Julio Jones we know. And we know what
AJ Brown
is. Like, we know what that is, right? But then you add one more option to say, okay, because it seems like, man, we could take away those two guys. You know what I'm saying? But damn, we can't take away all three.
You don't have that difference maker at tight end.
You don't.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
He's gone to New England. So yeah. I understand the pick. I like the pick. Quarterback's it is a problem, but that cap hit it's not pretty.
Yeah, it's tough.
So you got to live with that and sit on that.
So yeah, I'd like the quarterback to understudy. I like a quarterback to understudy.
Yeah, grab him in the second round.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's the thought process.
Yeah. All right, man. Next up, we have my Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I'm making this pick assuming that one of the two players on the offensive line isn't coming back because both of them are free agents, and Alex Kappa and
Ryan Jensen.
Almost I forgot his name.
Yep.
Because Ryan Jensen is worth all the money that he's going to get in the offseason. Not sure if that's going to be the Bucs or someone else. And Alex Kappa, he's a very good right guard, very good guard just in general. But if you look at everybody on that line, on that offensive line, he was the worst. And that I'm not taking a shot at him, but there's always going to be somebody that's the best and somebody that's the worst, and he was the worst, right?
Sure.
And let's go ahead and slide in Texas A&M's inside offensive lineman. He's played every position on the offensive line outside of center, as far as I'm concerned, in Kenyon Green. And the Bucs had to play musical chairs this year in terms of their offensive line, and it essentially kind of cost them.
Yeah,
what's that?
Wirfs injury cost them, man.
Yeah, that was big. That's probably a different football game if Wirfs is out there. You know what I mean? So, but Green can play anywhere. Obviously, I think he's probably a better interior player than an outside player in terms of tackle, but he can play anywhere, plug and play. Just run it, man, with him. So, let's get it.
I like it. I mean, outside of perhaps stressing the corner position, or even receiver, if you want to kind of push your chips all the way to the middle of the table, it's hard to debate offensive line. And Kenyon Green has a ton of upside. Position flexibility obviously is a nice boon, but I think especially in Tampa Bay, what they managed to do to coach guys up and get the most out of them to this point, I think this is a really nice fit.
Man, next up, I'm going to be different again here, man. Because I'm picking the right position. I'm just not going with the player that most people think, right?
Sure.
These boys need a receiver. I don't care what you think. They could use some. They could use some offensive line help too.
Listen. If people still don't think Green Bay needs a receiver,
you see them stats, bro. Did you post that? Somebody posted that.
I shared it.
Yeah, you did share it. That was bad, bro.
It's bad. It was Devontae Adams and Aaron Jones. That was your receiver.
That was it.
Yeah.
And Lazard caught one late in the game.
Yes, Lazard, unrestricted free agent. Right. MVS, unrestricted free agent. Randall Cobb, over the hill. Like, come on, man.
Come on. I'm gonna go with wide receiver, and I know Jameson Williams is on the board, but he is coming off an ACL, and I know we're in the new age of ACLs. You get back in 4 weeks. You know what I'm saying, in terms of ACLs. But I'm going to go with George Pickens from Georgia. And this is a player who, to me, I think he has all of the tools that you want.
Sure.
But it's kind of the Stingley thing. One, got to be healthy. You know what I'm saying? And two, it's just one. Got to stay healthy. And we just haven't seen enough of him because he has all the tools that you want. Route running, ability to separate, has some explosiveness, has some ability to make people miss, be elusive out in the open field, can run past some folks. And I think that his combine, his pro day are going to make people. He's gonna move up the board. How far up? I'm not sure. But I think this is a guy we need to be, keep an eye on. You know what I'm saying, to see where he goes.
Hey man, listen. Again, to your point, lots of talent, skill set is there. Just some question marks. I do not look at Jameson Williams as just a pure speed guy. I think Jameson Williams has a certain, element to his game, certain mentality that gives me a more well-rounded receiver. But I certainly understand the upside with respect to Pickens. When Pickens was entered the scene, he looked amazing. He was among the best receivers in college football. Now, of course, off the field injury, things of that nature, whatever the case may be. But to your point, if everything checks out, you know what I'm saying, the scouts are comfortable with, what's going on between the ears and the medicals come back clear. George Pickens is as talented as any receiver in this particular class, and certainly I'm in complete agreement with you regarding Green Bay. Green Bay needs more weaponry. There's no question about it. All right. I got the Cincinnati Bengals, the second to last pick or rather not the second last pick. I got the Cincinnati Bengals, the upstart Bengals. There is a clear need. I think it's obvious. We talked about it ad nauseum last year. Of course, it's worked out. Joe Burrow has made it work despite being the most sacked quarterback in the NFL, right? I got to get this guy some help up front. I got to take some pressure off of him. I know he's built for it. But his mind certainly is, but his body might not hold up.
Right.
It just might not hold up. So I'm going to go with Zion Johnson. And I think Zion Johnson is actually, at this juncture, a better player than Kenyon Green, though Kenyon Green has a higher upside. You know what I mean? I think you can slide Zion Johnson in right now, and it shores up part of that interior of your offensive line, which has struggled mightily. So Zion Johnson is a pick for me here with the Bengals with the 29th overall pick. And with the 30th pick in our head-to-head mock draft, or 2020
back-to-back O-line, bro. What we doing?
Well, I mean, that could have worked out for the Finns. It could have worked out for the Finns there. I'm going to do something weird.
I'm
going to do something weird, man.
Weird.
I know Miami needs to address their offensive line. I certainly understand that. I think they have the ability to, considering where they're going to be drafting, I think they'll be able to find a starter. I think they'll be able to find a starter on day 2 here. I'm going to draft Jameson Williams, man, because
took him, bro. That's where I was going. You got him.
Listen. I'm looking at Detroit there, and I figured he wouldn't get past Detroit. And the reason why I'm taking Jameson Williams is, if you look at what's going on in Miami right now, of course, you're trying to ensure, and it's a combination thereof, right? You need to have the weapons. You need to be able to protect Tua, all right? I'm a big proponent of addressing your offensive line, not just through the draft, but through free agency. Veterans, proven commodities that happen to slip through the cracks, gobble them up. There's no state tax in Florida. You know what I'm saying? The nightlife in Miami there's nothing quite like it. You understand what I'm saying? It is an attractive destination. It's an attractive destination. With young players, you need them. They have to have some time to develop. If you can find quality, average to above average starters, that is going to make a substantial difference in terms of this Miami roster, right? However, they currently have Jalen Waddle, right, out of Alabama. Obviously, he's locked in. He's shown his wares. He looks the part. You have, Mr. Sometimes not, Devontae Parker, and then you really have nothing beyond that. Mike Gesicki, he's an unrestricted free agent. I think the only other receiver that might be under contract right now for 1 year is Allen Hurns. So you need, again, we're looking at Buffalo here. We got to be able to score some points. You know what I'm saying? In order to get into the dance, Jameson Williams is a pick for me here. Help out Tua. A lot of speed. Between
took my guy, bro.
Yeah. You got to take that.
Beside myself.
Got to take that. Yeah, he doesn't get past the Lions here, man. In this particular draft, the way the receivers came off the board, he doesn't get past the Lions.
They might have tried to move in front of the Dolphins there to try to scoop them,
right?
But we're not doing that here. So Lions, I'm gonna go David Bell, receiver out of Purdue. This is a guy who, when you look at him, you're like, he ain't much in terms of the size, but this is a guy who plays above the rim. I've seen some people like compare him a little bit to Devontae Adams a little bit. I don't know that. I don't know if that's the case. But
maybe Devontae Adams coming out of Fresno State, not today's Devontae.
Not today's
Devontae Adams. Right.
I can live with that. Yeah. It's a very productive receiver, and this team needs that. They need reliability at the receiver position. They need production at the receiver position. They need guys that the quarterback can count on. You know, Goff is a traditional drop back quarterback, and if you're going to have that, you got to have guys who are reliable who can get open. And David Bell, if he's covered, just throw it up, throw it vertical. He'll go up and get it. He got you.
Yeah. I actually like the makings of that. Like we talk about this Detroit Lions team, and they're a young group, but it's starting to take shape, man. And they've taken on the personality of their head coach. Mm-hmm. You know, I like what Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell kind of have going there. The feel is different in Detroit, right? And I got that sense this past offseason. I got that sense that, you know, that okay, this might be a turning point for this team. And of course, Amon-Ra St. Brown, he came on and gangbusters when they finally gave him, you know, the opportunity that he deserved. You know what I mean? I think they have a quality young offensive line. They get TJ Hockenson back, DeAndre Swift in the backfield. Now you add David Bell. Now you have the makings of a competent offense here, man. You understand what I'm saying? And of course, you grabbed Aiden Hutchinson at the top of the first round. You know, give you some more teeth on the defensive side of the ball. So yeah, I like both of those picks. And I certainly am comfortable at this juncture, considering out the way this mock draft has unfolded, grabbing David Bell here at the bottom to round out, to finish our one round. I got you. Don't worry.
There's only 4 players here, bro. Everybody else, no one else matters, bro.
I got you, bro. Okay. To round out, to finalize our latest head-to-head 2022 NFL mock draft, the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs are on the clock, and there's been a lot of conversation about, you know, and of course, again, to the point I made previously, the way this is unfolded, the receiver isn't there, although a lot of people really like the idea of the Kansas City Chiefs adding another receiver. I don't think it's necessary. As long as you have Hill and Kelsey and you have competent other, you know, elements to the team, whether it be Hardman getting involved in the reverse and end around game, or Pringle. I think Pringle is actually their second best receiver. I think he's their second best receiver. If you're not including Travis Kelce in that conversation, I think Pringle has shown that he's capable. So I'm comfortable. They fixed their offensive line this past offseason. They got the young quarterback, the gunslinger, in place that always keeps them in the game. The offense is set as far as I'm concerned. They need to continue to get better on the defensive side of the ball, right? They made some good decisions in terms of free agency, in terms of who they brought in along the defensive line. I really like the way Nick Bolton has played their last year's second-round pick. He's been impressive. You know, in all likelihood, Tyrann Mathieu won't be in KC. You can certainly go safety, but there's a guy that I like here at the corner position that I think Steve Spagnuolo would love. Mm-hmm. He has the size, he has the length, he has the man-to-man chops, and that's your guy, Kaiir Elam, man.
You know it, bro. Let's get it.
Absolutely. All right, dude, that's going to do it. That's going to do it for our latest head-to-head 2022 NFL mock draft. This was a lot of fun. Guys, we're going to continue to keep this going. In fact, the next time we do a head-to-head mock draft, it will be of the 2-round variety.
Ready for that 2-round, bro?
We're going 2 rounds deep, man. We're going 2 rounds deep. And come February, you'll start seeing our team-by-team 7-round mock drafts. You'll start to see those as well. So as Drew mentioned earlier, be sure to subscribe to the channel. You want to stay locked in. There's going to be so much NFL draft content, NFL content coming out of this channel over the next several months, and of course moving forward. You know what I mean? So for Drew, this is Juice signing off.